homes and businesses and help reduce our energy costs. Taking some of those immediate steps now, I think will pay some big dividends down the road. And the timing of it is perfect because our job last year was to make sure the economy was growing. The economy is now growing. But what's happening is businesses, either because they can't find financing or because they're still just dipping their toe in the water, have been hesitant to hire full-time workers. And for us to start giving them some serious incentives, giving them additional access to financing, could accelerate a process that otherwise could take a much longer time. And frankly, all those folks out there who are out of work right now, they just can't afford to wait any longer. They need it now. All right?
We have time for one or two more questions. If the question's short.
And the answer's short.
Otherwise, we'll only have one question. The Chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Pat Leahy.
Mr. President, one, thank you for coming here. I think this is, thank you for coming here. I was just whispering to Marcel, these answers are so good and need to be heard. You have a great sense of what the federal judiciary should be. I think back to President Clinton's time when the other side blocked 61 of his judges. You've had some superb judges. You've talked to both Republicans and Democrats, some superb names, and Senator Reid still has to file cloture. We have to spend a week of doing that, and then they pass by 100 to nothing or 90 to 10. My thing is this. Because of what they did last time, we're end up with the greatest shortage and the most judicial crises, I think, in our history. Will you continue to work very hard to get up names as quickly as possible so that we can do this and help us get these judges through? I don't want the same judicial crises to occur. You've had good nominees. Can you commit to work with us, both parties, and keep trying to get them through?
Good. Well, this is going to be a priority. Look, it's not just judges, unfortunately, Pat. It's also all our federal appointees. We've got a huge backlog of folks who are unanimously viewed as well qualified. Nobody has a specific objection to them, but end up having a hold on them because of some completely unrelated piece of business. That's an example, Michael, of the kind of stuff that Americans just don't understand. On the judges' front, I mean, we had a judge coming out of Indiana, Judge Hamilton, who everybody said was outstanding. Evan Bayh, Democrat, Dick Lugar, Republican, all recommended. How long did it take us? 6 months, 7 months for somebody who was supported by the Democratic and Republican senator from that state. And you can multiply that across the board. So, we have to start highlighting the fact that this is not how we should be doing business. Now, in fairness, when we were in the minority, there were some times where we blocked judges, we blocked appointees. I think it's fair to say we were a little more selective in how we did it. A lot more, somebody said. So this is an example of where I'm going to reach out to Mitch McConnell. I know Harry has as well. And I'm just going to say, look, if the government's going to work for the American people, I can't have the administrator for GSA, which runs every federal facility, all federal buildings all across the country. Here we are, we're trying to save billions of dollars, cut waste. Claire McCaskill's been all on top of how can we audit our spending, and we could save billions of dollars in ending old leases that don't work or renegotiating them or consolidating buildings and efficiencies. But I don't have a GSA administrator. Even though I nominated somebody who was well qualified several months ago, and nobody can tell me that there's anything particularly wrong with her. They're blocking her because of some unrelated matter. I don't know. You guys may know better than I do. And that has to end. It has to end. And the American people want it to end. Let's have a fight about real stuff. Don't hold this woman hostage. If you have an objection about my health care policies, then let's debate the health care policies. But don't suddenly end up having a GSA administrator who is stuck in limbo somewhere because you don't like something else that we're doing. Because that doesn't serve the American people. Then they don't know what the argument's about. Then it's just sort of a plague on both your houses because it looks like you guys are just fighting all the time. And we've got to put an end to that.
I missed somebody on my list. If you would just be patient with us, we'll have two very short questions.
I will indulge you, Kerry.
The first question is going to come from the only person that's a member of the United States Senate who has a spouse that's won a Pulitzer Prize, Sherrod Brown from Ohio.
Way better at asking questions than I am, President. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your visit to Lorain County, Ohio. A week and a half ago, first presidential visit to that county of 300,000, and since Harry Truman in 1948.
It was a great visit. We had a great time.
It was terrific. 10 miles from there at Oberlin College, one of the great private institutions of higher learning in this country. At Oberlin College, there was a building built there 7 or 8 years ago, fully powered by solar panels. It's the largest building. It was the largest building in any college campus in America like that. Those solar panels were bought in Germany and Japan, not surprisingly. Germany, a country that has both an energy policy and a manufacturing policy. 75 miles west of there is Toledo, Ohio, where you've been several times. And Toledo has more solar manufacturing jobs than any city in America. It begs the question of two things in terms of manufacturing policy and energy policy. We have all kinds of things in so many of our states, manufacturing wind turbine components and solar panel components, but we're the only major industrial country in the world without a manufacturing policy. And every rich country in the world has one. We don't. I know what you're doing with Ron Bloom in the White House and other things, but how do we get there? How do we, when we read these articles in the paper that China is just exploding in terms of wind turbine manufacturing and solar panel manufacturing, how do we rebuild our manufacturing sector with a manufacturing policy combined with an energy policy that gets us there?
I hope people had a chance to read that article that was in the New York Times, I guess last Sunday, talking about how China is not waiting, it is moving. And already the anticipation is that they will lap us when it comes to clean energy. Now, they're not a democracy, and so they don't debate. And there are no filibuster rules. And so obviously, over the long term, a system that allows for robust debate and exchange of ideas is going to produce a better result. I believe that. But we have to understand that when it comes to some key issues like energy, we are at risk of falling behind. We've already fallen behind, but it's not irrevocable because we still have the best research. We still have potentially the best technology. We've got the best universities, the best scientists, and as I said, we've got the most productive workers in the world. But we've got to bring all those things together into a coherent whole. Now, I think there are a couple of elements to this. One, in terms of manufacturing generally, you just mentioned Ron Bloom, who we put in charge of a manufacturing task force, is just issuing now a report to me about the direction we need to go to have some coordination when it comes to manufacturing. Now, this is not some big bureaucratic top-down industrial policy. It is figuring out how do we coordinate businesses, universities, government, to start looking at where are strategic opportunities and then making those investments, filling holes that exist so that we can be competitive with what China's doing or what Germany's doing or what Spain's doing. And my hope